Helen was known for one thing at work: interrupting people. She couldn't help herself. Whenever someone started speaking, thoughts would flood her mind, and she felt an overwhelming urge to share them immediately. So, about the Johnson project, her colleague Tom would begin. "Oh, I was thinking about that." Helen would interrupt. "We should definitely use the blue design. I saw something similar on another website, and..." "Helen," Tom would sigh, "I was actually going to discuss the budget." At home, things weren't much better. During family dinners, her husband Mike and teenage daughter Sarah had almost given up trying to share their day's experiences. Today at school, Sarah would start. "Was it about that math test? I told you studying extra would help." Helen would interrupt. "Mom, please," Sarah would roll her eyes. "I wasn't even talking about math." One evening, after another dinner where she had dominated the conversation, Helen noticed how quiet her family had become. She decided to change, but didn't know how. She went to her room, opened YouTube, and typed in how to stop interrupting people. The top video was by Dr. Liu, a well-known psychologist. Interrupting others often comes from 3 places, Dr. Liu explained in the video. First, the fear of forgetting what you want to say. Second, excessive enthusiasm about the topic. And third, the habit of thinking about your response instead of truly listening. Helen nodded. She was guilty of all 3. Dr. Liu continued with specific techniques. 1. Use a notepad or your phone to quickly jot down thoughts while others are speaking. This addresses the fear of forgetting. 2. Practice the 2-second rule. After someone stops speaking, count 1001, 1002 before responding. This ensures they've finished their thought. 3. Focus on the speaker's face and body language instead of preparing your response. This helps you stay present. 4. Ask at least one follow-up question before sharing your thoughts. This shows you're listening and helps you understand better. The next day at work, Helen decided to try these techniques. When Tom started discussing the quarterly report, she felt the familiar urge to interrupt. Instead, she opened her notes app and quickly typed her thoughts. Our numbers show a 15% increase. Tom continued. Helen watched his face, noticed his proud smile, and forced herself to keep listening. When he finished, she counted 1001, 1002. "That's interesting, Tom," she said carefully. "Could you tell me more about what drove that increase?" Tom looked surprised and pleased. Their conversation flowed naturally for the first time in years. At home, Helen practiced with her family. When Sarah started talking about school again, Helen sat on her hands, another tip from the video, and focused on her daughter's excited expression. "And then I got elected as class president." Sarah finished. Helen counted her 2 seconds, then asked, "How did you feel when they announced the results?" Sarah's face lit up. "Mom, you actually listened to the whole thing." Over the next few weeks, Helen noticed significant changes. Her colleagues started inviting her to more meetings. Her family had longer, more meaningful conversations at dinner. Best of all, she found herself learning interesting things she would have missed before. 1 month later, Tom approached her desk. "Helen, I've noticed a real change in you. Our team discussions are so much more productive now." Helen smiled. "I realized that listening isn't just about being quiet. It's about being present and showing others they matter." "Well," Tom grinned, "I'm glad you didn't interrupt me this time to say that." They laughed together, and Helen felt grateful for the YouTube video that had taught her the art of listening. She had finally learned that sometimes the best way to be heard is to listen first. 单字 interrupt 打断其他人说话 verb to stop a person from speaking for a short period by something you say or do. Overwhelming 难以抵挡的 adjective difficult to fight against. Address 对付应付处理 verb to give attention to or deal with a matter or problem.